So Elon Musk doesn't understand why you don't like him.
Do I have to like him?
Well, yeah, according to Elon and Fox News and all his fanboys and fangirls. So,
Do I have to love him and like him?
so what they said, and guys, we just saw the interview with the Sean Hannity thing. I made a video on that, but Hannity's like, how could you hate Elon? He's a patriot. He does everything to love the country, and you should like him. Why don't you like him?
Because he fired me?
Yeah. So, isn't it bizarre that
Because he fired my sister?
right, and this is
Yeah.
actually real. The Edie sister works for the VOA. You know, we know many people, I'm sure you do as well, that say work for the government or rely on government services. And of course, people aren't going to like you if you're firing everyone. It's so bizarre. I want to read some comments for your guys' reaction, and we'll talk with you about it. So, for example, this is from Nina. Nina says, Musk is proof that you can have lots of money and still be a huge loser. So what do you think about that? I mean, in USA, some people think that just because Musk has a lot of money that he's
You're
awesome.
smart.
Yeah.
And, he's nice, right?
I don't know if they would say, so people, like even if people like Trump, they'll just say, well, Trump's the leader that we need. They know he's not very nice. And they'll make fun of us if they say, if we point out that Trump has a, quote, they call it mean tweet. They'll just say, oh, you just don't like him because you're a crybaby and you can't handle mean tweets. And that's the kind of discussions that we have in USA.
Yeah, but
the overriding question though is, does someone with money, does that mean they're smarter than everyone else? Is that what that means?
Of course it's not.
Why not? They have money. We should worship
because-
people with money, right?
Yeah, but they're not. Maybe if you start from zero to be a like millionaire, like billionaire, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think they're high chance they're smart, but they're born with diamond spoon.
Right.
We call diamond spoon.
Well, oh yeah, we don't say it. We say silver spoon. You say diamond spoon.
Actually,
I know
there's
that.
gold, silver,
Different
bronze.
spoons.
So we call the rich people with the gold spoon, but I guess he's like ruby spoon. Emerald spoon.
Emerald spoon. Yeah. And I want to point out because you mentioned the zero to say wealthy, but it still doesn't necessarily mean that you should follow someone. Because like for example, let's say someone's a criminal. Like, do you admire someone that goes, say, from zero, they join a gang, and then they sell stuff on street corners? Is that
Yeah, except the criminal.
Yeah, so that
scammer.
Well, that's where we are now. Musk and Trump are the criminal and the scammer. You can decide which is which. The other thing too, I was thinking about this because this topic comes up a lot in the USA discussion. So there's people out there that say, well, Trump is, they'll say like, why don't you like Trump? Like, what have you ever done in your life? And in their mind, what they're trying to say is like, you don't have as much money as Trump. So like,
yeah, I don't need to follow you.
Yeah. So I want to think about it this way, guys, when you have this conversation with people is, say in your neighborhood or your city, there's going to be a family who owns a particular piece of land, right? Be it the grocery store land or be it the church land or school land or whatever. Someone owns, just for example, someone owns an important piece of land. Their children are going to end up also owning said piece of land. So because your parents have that piece of land and pass it down to the kids, suddenly are these kids smarter that they were born with a piece of land that no one else has? That's essentially what wealth for some of these people is.
And I read from somewhere, but I'm not sure it's true or not, and I don't know how many percent, but third generation of the rich people can be bankrupt.
Oh, okay.
Because third generation, they didn't watch their parents doing hard job. They they're born with a lot of money, but so they don't know how to control it. So there's high possibility they're bankrupt.
There's a saying that we say, and it's a male saying, but it could matter for anyone. It's basically they say like it's the rich man's curse is the lazy son. Right? Because the idea is that if your family, and it could be the rich parents' curse is the lazy child, but the idea is that the lazy kid or the rich kid isn't born hungry, so they don't really have any need to learn work ethic. Right. It doesn't mean all rich people are lazy. Yeah. Just want to make that clear. But don't think just because someone has money that they're automatically smarter than you and work harder than you. And that's why I use the example of if a certain family has a piece of land and they just pass it down to their kids. Certainly the kids have money, but it doesn't make them work harder than you. And the best advice I always tell people is choose your parents wisely. It's a joke, right? Make sure if you want to be like Elon, and then make sure you have good parents, or rich parents, which is not necessarily good. Here's another comment from you guys. Elon, nobody gives an F about Mars. You and your clunker electric cars, do us all a favor and move back to SA, South Africa. So, what's the deal with the obsession with Mars? It's bizarre.
I don't know. Maybe he's recently watched a lot of like space movie or drama, I guess. So he's dreamed about that.
Here's the funny thing about Elon and his like sci-fi stuff is he often doesn't understand them.
Them who?
He doesn't understand the movies or the books that so he'll make quotes, but like we can tell he doesn't really understand them. So it's funny. So for example, if anyone who's ever watched the Aliens movie, it's a really popular one. And the basic idea in that movie, there's this, essentially big company who wants to use humans as experiments, essentially, and then wants the humans to get infected and bring the aliens back to Earth and make some sort of weapon. And it's been like that. That's what basically all the Aliens movies boiled down to. There's just like this big, corporation. And Elon is the company, basically using people as experiments. But he doesn't like see himself that way. Like another example would be, he wants his car to be like, say, something like Blade Runner. And if you ever watched the movie Blade Runner, or read the book Do Androids Dream Electric Sheep, the basic idea is all about AI. What it means to be human? Do we necessarily want robots to replace us? Like and usually these movies have warnings, basically, right? If you too much tech,
But he just thinks that's cool. Oh, we gotta just change everything. It's robot.
Yeah. And he doesn't understand it. Or another one. I made some videos on this. He'll quote, like he'll say, in public, he'll say like, "Do you want me to build Starfleet? Do you want us to be like Star Trek?"
Yeah.
He doesn't even understand Star Trek. So the whole premise of Star Trek, and I actually really like Star Trek. I'm a Next Generation person myself. I like that one with Picard and stuff. But I did watch the originals with Kirk and things like that. But the original version of Star Trek, I don't know if you know this, was essentially, it was during the Cold War. And if you watch the original iterations, they had a couple of important characters. One, it was a Russian person was driving the ship, because back then it mattered that you put like a Russian character on TV, because during the Cold War, right? They also had the communications officer was Uhura. She's a black woman. And they had Sulu, actually, too, was an Asian guy, which is very rare.
That era, right?
Yeah, very rare, and even today, to be honest, they still have it a certain kind of way where a certain group of people are the most dominant characters, but dominant in terms of main character, and not because they're better, just because someone decided that we want to have those people. They got to make it clear, because sometimes people don't understand what we're talking about here. So then you grow up thinking that only the Kirk, especially white guy, is the hero. That's what you grow up. So for some people, they grow up thinking that. So then Musk doesn't understand, like, so Star Trek is including everyone. That's the purpose of the show. And then the other thing was, like, in Star Trek, there's no money in the future, which doesn't really fit in to, his world, or this idea, like, we're all kind of sharing. Because it comes up in the show a lot. And that was one of the early premises of the show. They would address social issues. Because he also attacks how, he talks a lot of stuff, but like he hates it if, say, Disney or other movies like include different types of people or can make comments about social issues. If anyone who watched the original Star Trek or the newer one, the social issues are all throughout the show. There's a really famous, popular, I want to say it. Like there was two characters, and they had a makeup on, and one side of their face was white makeup, the other side was black makeup, right? So one character had the like black makeup on the left side and the white makeup on the right side, and then the other character was reverse. The white makeup, or sorry, the black makeup on the right and the left makeup. And so when they picked them up, there's two guys, and they went on the ship. The people in the Star Trek, they're like, you guys look the same. Like why do you don't like each other? And he's like, well, can't you see? The black part of his face, the right side of his face is black, and like, and so it was a warning against racism, basically. So the original Star Trek is really cool, really, really cool. And then Next Generation like took it to the next level and really got more philosophical, a little bit smarter, less flying kicks, which some people complain because the Picard wasn't really like a flying kick kind of guy. It was kind of a joke, but anyway. So that's Elon. Here's another one. It's kind of an interesting one. This is from Kenrick. I'm just waiting for Trump blaming Musk for all his failings. So is that what's going to happen? Is Trump going to blame Musk for everything, do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. Should be, isn't it? They're fighting each other. It's gonna be, I don't know, it's gonna be really fun.
Because ultimately, like when you put all these sort of basically greedy people,
Mm.
on the same team and in a room, it's
But
not going to turn out well.
if
What's that?
already people start blaming Dodge, but he's not charge of the Elon is not charge of Dodge. If you wanna blaming someone, he has to have official position. It's easy to blaming, right? Later.
Right. So so usually when things don't work out the way, like let's say I have a plan and their plan is to fire you and place you with AI, and let's say they do that and suddenly like unemployment goes up, like
Yeah.
because no one has a job because they just fired everybody, and then they'll just blame someone else. So the Doge thing you mentioned is people are trying to sue because Elon is firing people without a proper reason, basically. It was actually recently the judge made a statement regarding that. Is essentially they say, according to Elon and the Doge people, is that we're firing lazy people who don't do their job, etc. And then like the judge like called it out. There's no way you can fire all these people.
You have no right.
Yeah, but they didn't actually do it on any of their evaluation of their work thing, right? They just fired a bunch of people, and they went after people that had like temporary contract or not temporary is not the right word. Probationary is the right word. So meaning that they're within the first 2 years of their contract, like they're kind of a new employee. And then it also affected people, which is kind of interesting one. You still work for the government, but you got a promotion, but you were a new employee in that new position, but you're not really you're right. Do it make sense?
I understand.
Yeah, so this idea that we just fired those kind of people, for example, obviously didn't evaluate their, their work. And this goes also to part of their plan, and this actually came out today and it's been circulating in the news, which I think is a really big one, is the Social Security thing. So the basic change is you can't call on the phone anymore to make any, adjustments to your Social Security. Like let's say you have to change your bank account or change your address or whatever. Was that?
Then how you change?
Well, you have to go in person, right?
Online?
You can do it online.
Okay.
But the issue would be though for people on Social Security, there's some people out there like, for example, do you think your dad could make changes online?
No.
Why not? Why can't he do a computer? That's what Elon Musk would say. Well, because there's computers everywhere, or just do a computer. Right?
No. They never gonna learn computer system. We have to help them. If you have to go in person, but it's sometimes hard. I don't know USA, but in Korea, if you call your local government employee can visit your house, right?
Oh, and help you with theoretically your Social Security, theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically, old people, poor people, they can visit you. But Elon's starting fire all of them. There's no one can visit for you guys, I guess.
Yeah. So the wait times, I guess, when you call on the phone now, so they're going to cut the phone service, basically.
Even if you don't call the phone, there's no one to answer. So
right, but I'm saying already the wait times are going up because you're firing people, so you have to wait a lot of time on the phone, right? But they're going to cut that anyway. They want to cut some of the offices to save money, so it's going to be harder for people to travel to go to these other things. Now, but like that's why I mentioned Edie's dad, because theoretically, yes, you could do it on the internet, but you just have to understand that some people, for different reasons, can't use a computer, right?
Even the phone app applications for them, even the download app itself is too hard.
No, but they may not have even a smartphone. Or even a phone.
Yeah.
So this is the stuff that whenever you read Elon's post, it kind of all goes back to, he makes this assumption that everyone is the same, everyone has the same lifestyle, they all grow up rich, just like Elon. Like he just doesn't understand regular people's life, right?
If Korea is, we can. At least it takes an hour, 2 hours, maybe to get to the office, but America's huge.
Right. So some offices may be really, really far away.
Yeah, really far away, and you guys are slow too. So you gotta visit like 2 days, in a row, something like that.
Well, from my understanding, the way it is now, the system they want is like maybe you'll make an appointment, but then maybe you have to like wait a month. It'll be.
I don't know. Wait a month in Korea? That's crazy. If you wait a month, people call you.
Get really mad.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, they keep calling or what?
Nothing takes a month in Korea.
Oh, right. So if you guys don't know, it's a different system over here. And And every country is going to be different, right? It depends how much you want to invest into the system. So Elon Musk's point of view, because I know I read his nonsense all the time, but to understand it is, like for example, they want to cut Department of Education, right? So their point of view, if something is, not, I won't say Department of Education is bad. We'll just say in their point of view, if it's not doing what they wanted to do, or quote failing, right? Then they instead of investing more money into it, just cut it off completely, right? Like this is an excuse to make cuts, because like for example, let's say, for example, you call Social Security and you have to wait 5 hours on the phone or whatever, for example. And that Musk point of view is like, oh, you gotta wait 5 hours on the phone. Well, just cut it all. Like that doesn't really make sense. Like if you actually were to solve the problem, you would theoretically hire more people.
Yeah.
So like there's more people to talk on the phone. This also reminds me too, because Musk likes to talk about this as well, is like, why can't we all vote in person? Why can't everyone have an ID, right? So this thing is same situation as Social Security. They just come up with excuses to make it harder, to want to cut it. The excuses to cut your services, and they want to make it harder for you to do these things. Now, the voting one, you have to understand, this is your constitutional right. You have a right to vote. And let's talk about Social Security or voting. Let's say, for example, there are Americans out there that don't have a permanent home, right? You could be homeless. You could be living in a relative's house, any number of things. If anyone who's ever lived in the USA, you would know this, they want like a proof of your address, okay? So if you tie proof of your address to right to vote, which should be your constitutional right, and it's hard for you to prove that you live anywhere. So for example,
living in camping car, those kind of people.
Yeah. So how would you prove, like you do exist, like you live in your car, just for example, you're an American, for example, so you should have a right to vote. But like if you tie, say, the ID to a proof of address, and one way to prove your address is a pretty common one, is you have to show you have an electric bill.
Oh.
So, but what if you don't have an electric bill?
I see.
Right? There's lots of different reasons why. So like, I'll give you a simple example. So let's say you're a student, okay? And you move to go up to school, whatever, and they literally don't have an electric bill. And let's say, like, for example, in the student situation, they make it like really difficult. They say, well, you can't vote in your new state.
I see.
Because many students go all across the country. Yeah.
Cross country, cross the states.
Yeah, and so from a Musk point of view, just for example, he'd say, well, you have to vote in person. You have to show an ID. So in the student situation, some students may not have a driver's license, for example, right? The student ID in some states, they don't accept student ID in some states, right? And then like you have to vote in person. So that means if I was say,
we don't take student ID here too.
Yeah, it could be different, but everything. But I'm just trying to explain that how you have to understand this. This is your not human right, but your U.S. citizen right to vote. If you say grew up in Oregon, moved out to New York, or moved to Florida, and Musk would say, well, you have to vote whatever in person, etc. So that means what? I'm going to fly from Florida to New York, like it doesn't. They're just trying to figure out ways to suppress the vote. They don't want people to vote. So.
That affects both sides, actually, isn't it?
So they've done studies on this stuff. It helps Republicans more. It hurts Democrats because
Democrats, go to other city more.
So generally speaking, this is the University of Maryland study. You can easily look it up. I'll say some basic just ideas. So it targets people of color. People, Native Americans also. The stuff that they want to do. So, for example, there are some people out there that have a hard time getting a birth certificate.
Oh.
Because our system's really old. It's just reality. So like, you have to call up your hospital for it theoretically.
In Korea, when he wants to the green card, the Korean green card, we have to get his like birth certification, something like that. But he need to get mail. Before.
Oh, right. So
in Korea, we can just get it from online. Really easy, but even the university certification, you have to get the mail, I guess.
Right? Well, okay, so that was the past. They've changed some things, but you just get on an important point. So here in Korea, they have a lot of kiosk machines for the government. So like, for example, when we had to get our marriage license thing and prove it for, I can't remember why, it was for the green card, I don't remember, but you just go to the kiosk machine, we pay like basically $5 and it prints it out.
I think these things free.
Okay, maybe free, and it prints it out. It's like so ridiculous. It's so ridiculously simple. but you have to remember, in USA we have 50 different states. There's all these different laws. I give you an example. So we just saw the movie Nora. Do you remember that? And so I don't want to ruin the movie too much, but let's just say this. Part of the movie is early on, they get married in one state, right? And like if you want to prove it or whatever, sometimes you have to go to that particular state to make proof of divorce. Yeah,
you have to go back that state.
That particular state, yeah. So, you know, like that kind of stuff. It's to people from other countries, it doesn't really make sense. Like, why do you guys have all these different laws? Or
even you don't understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about USA that like doesn't really make sense to me. But that's how our system is. Like, we have like 50 states, 50 different laws. And you know, I think the main problem, and it goes back to understanding who Trump and Musk are. They're born rich. They don't understand regular people's lives. Is they just assume, and that's a lot of the people like that, is that everyone is like them, have the same experiences as them. But in America, people have all sorts of different experiences, and that's the good thing about actually the democratic system is you can learn from everyone's experience and build a stronger system. Best way that I think about this is like if you're building a team, for example. You know, and so we'll use an example of you know, baseball team is fine. And you have one guy who can throw the ball really fast. That's like
one guy's really fast, one guy really good at catching.
Yeah. So but if you have one team where like everyone on the team is only good at catching, and you have no one who can throw the ball, or you have no one who can hit the ball, that makes for a very poor team. So the strength of America is the diversity of the people. Unfortunately, Musk and Trump, they think the strength of America is only a certain color of person, a certain, you know, type of person, and that's the people that they elect. They want people who are basically white guys with lots of scandals. And I laugh, but if you look at who's in their cabinet, that's the kind of people that they pick. And then if you are a woman and have lots of scandals, you can join too. But they prefer white guys with scandals. So I hope you guys understand sort of the nuances of when we have any of these discussions, and when you look at whatever Musk writes, he acts like that's the only way to think, but there's so many problems with his thinking, you know. So that's what we talk about on this channel, and I want to hear your thoughts. So anyway, do appreciate your time, and we'll catch you on the next video. So bye.